How's it going, everyone? I am back with another video. This is going to be my wild card score predictions video where I'm going to go through all the wild card games taking place over these next couple of days, Friday night as I'm recording this. So we got two games tomorrow, three Sunday, and then we get the Monday night game. Gonna break down my score predictions, the spreads, talk about how I think the games are going to go. I pretty much did this already in the bracket video I made the other day individually. And I also did it talking about my bracket with Dylan yesterday when we recorded the podcast. But I want to keep my what playlist consistent, not playlist, like templates consistent. Want to do a score predictions video for each round. So just starting off with the wild card for the playoffs, obviously. I will dive straight in here. So the first game is the Rams at the Panthers. I'm going to go with the Rams. I, like most people, am extremely confident in the Rams here. I would be shocked if they somehow lost this game. Now, I know the Panthers did beat them fairly recently, too. It wasn't too long ago, just a couple weeks ago. And Carolina, I don't know what they did, but defensively, they got Stafford out of sync, had two turnovers, one of them in the red zone. Bryce Young could not be stopped. He was unstoppable that game. But with all that being said, I don't see that happening again. Stafford being that sloppy and Bryce Young playing as good as he did, they still barely won that game, even with that in mind. The Rams, I think, are going to be a team on a mission. I've said it in a bunch of videos talking about the playoffs I made when I'm talking about their games. I think they're the better team here, much more talented. I think they'll clean up what went wrong the first time against the Panthers, and I think they're going to outplay Carolina by a good margin. I almost said 34-17. I think the Rams are going to really have their way with Carolina here. They're 10.5 point favorites. So Vegas is, you know, like many people, me included, very confident with the Rams here. If Carolina somehow pulls off this upset, I do think it's going to need to be a similar formula to the one they played against the Rams in the regular season. Make Stafford, and force some turnovers from Stafford. Have Bryce Young play great. I don't see it happening. I would be shocked if Carolina won, but who knows? The way this season's gone can happen. It's going to ruin everyone's bracket if it does happen, but I feel confident with the Rams. I don't want to overthink it, so I'll pick them 31-17. I think they'll cover that 10.5 point spread. Next game, Packers Bears. So interesting story with the line here. It started out with the Packers being favored, like initially, very quickly when the lines first opened, and then it swung in the Bears' favor, and now it's back in the Packers' favor. The seven-seeded Packers are favored over the Bears. The Packers are coming in on a losing streak. They are not playing good football. The Bears lost to the Lions, but they're still playing better than the Packers are the past couple weeks. This is a really tough one. I'm going to slightly go with the Bears here. I'm going to slightly lean them. I'm not too confident with this pick. Green Bay very well could win this game. This is a complete coin flip game. Dylan and I talked about it in the podcast. As I said, I'm going with the Bears. Dylan picked the Packers. Really could go either way. Green Bay outplayed Chicago both times in the regular season. Now they lost the second game, but Chicago got pretty fortunate to win that game. The onside with Dobbs bobbling it, the bobbled snap from Malik Willis in overtime. The Bears, not to discredit them, but they certainly got some things to go their way that game. So Green Bay, and even though they're coming in ice cold, it feels like when they are the underdogs in the playoffs, they play better. That good example is when they played Dallas a couple years ago. Not really anyone expected them to win the game, and they obliterated the Cowboys. And then they should have beaten the 49ers, too, in the divisional round. They outplayed them. They got pretty unlucky to lose that one. Then last year against the Eagles, they lost in the first round, but they played Philly tough. It was very close the whole game, and they were banged up at tackle. Their line was banged up. They were banged up at receiver. Mid-game injuries that killed them in that game, I remember. And the defense played Philly great. They played Philly tighter than pretty much everyone they played in that postseason. Maybe you can say the Rams, they played them tight, but Green Bay played them extremely tight. And they're obviously going to remember how the last game went, how they blew it, and they're going to be pissed off. And these teams do not like each other. That's no secret. So both teams, not that they needed any extra motivation, but they're going to be extra motivated to get the win here with the rivalry, not liking one another. But Green Bay, schematically, the Bears' defense is not good unless they get turnovers. So schematically, I could see Jordan Love. Maybe he's going to be rusty. That's a question floating around now. I could see schematically Matt LaFleur, who, by the way, is on the hot seat, apparently. I mean, if he loses this game, that's going to intensify. I think they would be insane to fire Matt LaFleur, but who knows? Matt LaFleur, I think, schematically could have a good game plan. Packers offense could get a lot going here. Packers defense played Chicago well both times, especially the second game up until that onside. After that, it was a disaster. But Green Bay very well could win this game. I think this is close either way. Chicago, I just think it's going to be close. It's going to feel like Green Bay might win the game for a while, and they're somehow going to pull it out at home, get a playoff win here, be fitting the way their season's gone. So technically, I'm taking the underdogs with the Bears here, even though they're the 2 seed at home. But can go either way. I would avoid that spread. Obviously, if Green Bay does win, they'll probably cover. They're just going to win by 2 points. Could win by a point. But, yeah, I would avoid that spread. I have Chicago 26-23. Think in the second half, fourth quarter, they get it going offensively. Defense, maybe they can force a turnover. If the Packers can avoid turning it over against this Bears team, they're going to be in great shape. Now, that sounds obvious, but that's especially true against this Bears team. Can go either way. Really excited to watch it. I'll go with Chicago 26-23. Not too confident, though. Point flip of a game for me. Next game. This should be a really good game. Bills-Jags. Now, this is also an interesting game when it comes to the line because it opened with the Bills being favored, and they were favored by a 1.5. And now, I think yesterday, I want to say it swung in the Jags' favor. The line did. Now Jacksonville is favored by a 1.5. This is also a game I would not touch in regarding the line because I think this is another coin flip game. Now the Jaguars, this is a tough draw for them as a 3 seed. You do not want to get the Bills as a 6 seed. That's a tough draw for the Jags. And it's crazy that one of these teams is going to be a first-round exit. Both of them are worthy of advancing further. Both of them are obviously 2 of the better teams this year. The Bills have been a bit shaky compared to what we're used to seeing with them in prior years, but they're still one of the better teams in the league. This really should be their year. No Mahomes. Obviously, that's been the Bills' kryptonite for years. I almost said no Allen. No Mahomes. No Burrow. He eliminated them a couple years ago. No Lamar. You really should make a run at the Super Bowl here, but they're going to have to do it as a 6 seed and in all likelihood have 3 road playoff games unless the Chargers can somehow make it all the way to the AFC Championship game. So tough road for the Bills. Not an easy first game against the red-hot Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence playing the best football of his career. They're red-hot. The defense is playing well. Josh Allen, he's a bit banged up. Is that going to affect the Bills? I honestly don't think it will, but who knows? One thing going for Jacksonville in this game is they get the top run defense in football, I believe, and the Bills like to run the holy hell out of the football. So if Jacksonville can limit that and make Josh Allen have a monster game to beat them, which is very possible, that's going to be the Jags' key to winning the game here. The Bills' defense is torchable, even though I was shocked to learn that they have the number 1 pass defense. Run defense is horrible, but pass defense is the number 1. I was surprised to hear that stat the other day. Jacksonville could have success against that defense. The Jags are the better team. They played like a better team most of the year. They're at home. They should win the game. However, I'm technically going to go with the underdog Bills here. I picked them when they were favored, so technically I was going the favorite team. But now I'm going with the underdog here. I just think Josh Allen is going to have a really good game. I just trust them, put more playoff experience. I have a hard time seeing they're going to be a first round out. Same for the Jags, though. this is a really tough game to predict. I'm gonna feel well. I won't feel bad if it's the Bills, but I'll feel bad for the Jaguars if they lose this game. Their first round exit. I think this will be a borderline, well, basically a shootout. So I have Buffalo 31, Jaguars 27. Could go either way. Not too confident, but I'll roll with the Bills in this one. Another game that is very intriguing, 49ers Eagles. Now, the Eagles opened, I believe, as 3.5 point favorites, and then it extended to 4.5, and then it went to 5.5, and now it's all the way to 6 as I'm recording this. So I'm not sure what Vegas found out in the past day or so for the line to shift more in the Eagles' favor. But I'm going to go with the underdog here. Now, am I confident with the 49ers to win this game? Not at all. I actually think it's more likely Philly does win the game, and they have a lot more paths to doing so. I think Philly could win ugly, like we've seen this year. I think the defense could really limit Purdy and the 49ers offense. They could win from their defense alone in a not so great game from their offense, like most games this year, as I mentioned. I could see Saquon going berserk. The 49ers defense has not been good lately, mainly due to all the injuries, I would say, especially in the run game. And you get Saquon on the other side. So he could go berserk. The weapons of the Eagles could be too much for the 49ers. I could see them blowing the 49ers out. They have a lot of ways they could win this game. However, the reason I'm going to go with the underdog 49ers here, and again, underdogs by a decent amount now, it's up to 6 points. I just think the matchup of Robert Saleh versus Kevin Patullo, I think Robert Saleh is going to be instrumental for them to win this game because I think the Eagles defense is going to play a really good game. I think the Niners, the 23 points I'm predicting are going to be an extremely hard-earned, grinded out 23 points. It's going to be nothing free, really difficult 23 points that the Niners are going to get that I'm predicting here. It'll be hard for them to score that much. I'm uneasy even picking them to score that much. I just think Robert Saleh and the 49ers defense have been playing bad. My gut is just kind of telling me they play good in this game. Again, they're the underdogs. Most people are picking against them. And this is another rivalry. I mean, these teams do not like each other either. A couple times they met the past couple years. The Niners obviously have the chip on their shoulder from the NFC Championship game a couple years ago, where they feel they would have won if they had Purdy, or even if freaking Josh Johnson stayed in that game, they at least would have had a quarterback physically able to throw a forward pass. And then they demolished them the year after in the regular season. So these two teams are not too friendly with one another. So this is a very interesting matchup. Again, I'm going with the 49ers. I would avoid that 6 point spread, even though, again, the Eagles very well could cover it because, like I said, I could see them blowing them out. I could see them getting a close win. There's more ways, as I mentioned, for Philly to win the game than the 49ers, in my opinion. But I don't know. The Eagles defense, it does seem streaky, like at times. So maybe the 49ers, so they can put together like 2 consecutive scoring drives. That'll be big for them. The talent difference with the 49ers injured defense and the Eagles offensive talent they have could make up for the difference with Saleh versus Patullo. A lot of different ways this game can go. I'm not confident with the 49ers, but I'm going to go with them here. I'm going to say 49ers 23, Philly 20. Now, even though I'm picking the Eagles to lose in the first round, I wouldn't be surprised if they repeat and win the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to. Even if they get past this game, I don't think they're going to. But that wouldn't shock me, as is the case with most teams. But I'll go with 49ers 23, Philly 20. Going to be an interesting game. Here we go. Chargers and my beloved Patriots. I actually have my move my camera here. My I Heart Drake May shirt on, so hopefully that can bring the team some luck. Just got in the other day, so thank you, Drake May lover. Beautiful website he has, a bunch of awesome Drake May shirts. Ordered a bunch for Christmas to give out to people. Awesome website. Awesome account, by the way, too. Anyway, Chargers, Patriots. So this is a tough game. Obviously, I'm going to go with my team here, 24-20. We're favored by 3.5. That line has stayed completely still from the moment it was set. I'm surprised it's not 2.5, maybe 3.5. I'm a bit surprised, pleasantly surprised, I guess. But I'm not over the moon confident. However, I do think we are the better team. We've had the better season. We're at home. I think we're going to be ready to play Sunday Night Football playoff game in Gillette, just like the good old days. That crowd's going to be raucous. It's going to be a really tough environment for the Chargers coming into the cold, too. That's another story. Now, it actually doesn't seem like it's going to be as cold as it normally would be on a January night in Foxborough, but what I think it's supposed to be in like the 30s the last time I saw it, with the high 20s, somewhere around there, which that's honestly warm for us at this point. But the Chargers, that's obviously going to be like an igloo being from LA. And I'm trying to think, I don't believe they've really played in the cold like that this season off the top of my head. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think they have off the top of my head. So I I feel okay with my team. I do see a scenario where we could win comfortably. I don't think, we're gonna blow the doors off them like the Jaguars did in the regular season to them, but I could see a scenario where we win comfortably and we're in control of the game and we just ride it out the whole time. The Chargers are much better at home than on the road. They have had some ugly road performances, so hopefully that translates over to this game. Now, again, the Chargers, they very well could win this game. I would say, like, from a confidence standpoint, I'm probably like 70% confident my team's going to win the game. The Chargers, their key to winning, Minter could cook up a good game playing defensively. Schematically, he could try to limit our offense a bit. Offensively, Herbert could have a big game. I don't think they're going to get too much going in the run game with Milton Williams and Spillane back, but who knows? I think Herbert's going to have a big game if they're going to win this game. Very well could happen. Their receivers could have big games. McConkey could play well. Allen could play well. Quentin Johnson could make some tough contested catches. Maybe look out for potentially switching him onto Marcus Jones, maybe. I could see that. Chargers, you can say they're more playoff experienced than us. They very well could win the game. Even though I think we're the better team, it's close. I'd be disappointed, obviously, but I would not be surprised if we lost this game. If the Chargers get out to an early lead, that's going to be key for them, because if they have to play from behind and pass with Herbert to down multiple scores, we could play more freely on defense, send some pressure with that horrible offensive line that they have. Now, another thing, Vrabel should use the fact that they rested their starters week 18, at least in part, is bulletin board material that they knew that likely if they rested their starters, they were going to end up matching up with us in the first round. So Vrabel should use that as bulletin material that they wanted to play us. So not that we needed any extra motivation, but we have it, you can say, if that's the case. Another thing we do have a tendency, especially defensively, to let them go right down the field and score. I could see us maybe starting out a bit shaky, playoff nerves, you can say. The Chargers get out to a lead, it's like, here we go. But then as the game goes on, we find our footing and really play well the rest of the game. We've had games like that this year where we start off slow, it's a bit shaky, and then we outplay them in the second half. That Cleveland game, the Cincy game, those are two of them. The Tennessee game, I could see it being like that. There's a bunch of different ways this game could go. I almost said 26-23, but I think it'll be a bit more defensive than that. So I have 24-20 Patriots. Could go either way, but I'm anxious. I'm nervous. I'm excited. A lot of emotions to this game. I just hope we can win a playoff game. That would be great, because the last time we won a playoff game was against the Rams in Super Bowl 53, which was in 2019. So basically 7 years ago. So we need a playoff win. We haven't had one in literally nearly a decade. So the way this year's gone, 14-3, hopefully we can at least win a playoff game. I hate that if it happens, it's going to come at the Chargers' expense, because I like the Chargers. I like Herbert. I'm a Michigan fan, so I like Harbaugh, I like Minter, but obviously I'll be rooting against them here. I'll say Pats 24-20. That spread's a bit tricky. The 3.5. If it was 3, I would say I feel confident. I have us covering it with my score prediction, but that's a tough spread. I might avoid that because we very well could lose the game, as I mentioned. So that's a tough spread there. Then the last game, Texans Steelers. Texans favored by 3. I'm going to go with them on the road here. A lot of people just picking the Texans, by default. The Steelers, they're a bit fortunate to have gotten in with Loop missing the kick. They've kind of been shaky all year, up and down, hot and cold. Houston's red hot. They haven't lost in quite a while. The defense is balling out. The offense has been playing solid. That pass rush against the Steelers offense, I think, is going to be a significant problem for the Steelers in this game. I do think the Steelers defense will keep them in it. Let me check the over under for this game. Let's see. 38.5. So what do I have? 33 total points. So that's a fairly low over under, but the under with this game is probably going to hit, more likely to hit than the over, I would say, but who knows. Obviously, two good defenses, two not great offenses, primetime playoff game. I think this has a lot of defense, punts, low scoring game written all over it. Houston's got the better team. They're playing better defense. Even the offense is better. I think they're better coached. I'm going to go with them here. I feel fairly confident. I will say, though, initially when this game was going to happen, I immediately was like, I really don't think the Steelers have too much of a chance. The more the week has progressed, the more I do think the Steelers actually have a legitimate chance to win this game. A couple things. I saw a stat that Mike Tomlin, I believe, is 22-3, I think was the stat at home in Monday Night Football games. That'll be the case here. That crowd's going to be crazy. The offense has actually been fairly decent for the Steelers lately. He played good last game, vintage Rodgers. Does he have another vintage playoff performance in him? Hasn't played in a playoff game in a few years. They're getting Metcalf back. That'll be a boost to them, obviously. And the Texans, it does feel like they're due for a slip-up. As I mentioned, they haven't lost in a while. I believe they're on a 9-game win streak, if I remember right off the top of my head. But they almost lost to the Raiders a couple weeks ago. They almost lost to the Colts last week. I know that was a bit weird because they pulled some of their starters at the half. But they've almost lost some games. Not the most convincing wins they've gotten lately. So coming on the road to Pittsburgh, obviously you want to talk about playoff experience. Tomlin's obviously getting a lot of heat, but he has playoff experience. Rodgers obviously has playoff experience. Metcalf. The Texans do as well, but the Steelers do more. It's more of like a veteran group, obviously. The Unkberg Steelers is what I've seen some people call them. Very old roster. So even though both teams are playoff experienced, the Steelers are more so, is the point I'm trying to make here. So Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh. Again, the more I'm thinking about it, they really do have a better chance to win the game than I initially had thought. But I'm not going to pick it to happen. I may be being disrespectful, only predicting 13 for the Steelers. Could see like 20-17. I could see like 17-13. I think this is going to be extremely low scoring. If either team scores like more than 21 points at the most, I'll honestly be a bit surprised. Maybe not so much the Texans, but the Steelers probably. I just think that Houston defense is going to give the Steelers a lot of trouble. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Texans are favored by 3. I think they'll cover that. Game could go either way, though. So I think they'll cover, but wouldn't be shocked if the Steelers pulled it off. So, yeah, those are my wild card score predictions. So just a quick recap here. If these games go according to how I'm predicting them to go with the winners, the divisional round in the AFC, it'll be Denver, Buffalo, Patriots, Texans. And in the NFC, it'll be Seahawks, 49ers, and Bears, Rams. So those will be the last 8. That'll be an interesting divisional round. If that's the case, again, I'm fairly confident with the Rams, and then after that, I'm not too confident with most of my picks except the Texans. I'm fairly confident with the Rams. I'm fairly confident with the Texans, but less so the Rams. I feel okay about my team. Not confident at all with the 49ers. Not too confident with the Bills. Not too confident with the Bears either. So this season has been absolutely insane. So many upsets, so many crazy storylines, so many teams that are good that not many people expected, and vice versa. Teams that were bad that are normally good. The playoffs are wide open this year. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? These playoffs should be electric. Dylan and I talked about it in the podcast video we recorded yesterday that his bracket and my bracket are fairly different, and it's very possible that Dylan's bracket could be correct and mine could be completely wrong based off the wild card picks, and it would make sense because again, a lot of the games could go either way. So very open bracket this year is the point I'm trying to make. Who knows what's going to happen? Should be an electric playoff field. I'm excited. I'm glad that we're Sunday Night Football, so I can watch 4 games beforehand. So if we do lose, I don't have to watch them pissed off. And if we do lose, I'll have a day to recover before the next game, the Monday night game. But again, I'm picking us to win. So yeah. Good luck with betting your picks this week. Obviously, fantasy's over. I usually say that, but fantasy season's done. I will wrap this video up here. I'll be making a recap video of the wild card round, then score predictions and a recap for the remaining 3 rounds. So be on the lookout for those. If you're interested, Dylan and I are going to record some more podcast episodes as the playoffs chuggle on here. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check those videos out in the future. But as far as this one, I will wrap this one up here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in. Take it easy. And as always, especially as we gear up for the playoffs, go Pats.